This is part 13 of this complete front-end development course that we are working on. And in this part of the video, we are going to build some of the icons component in React. So as you can see on the screen here in this web page, I have many different icons. On the top, you see that on this button here that toggles the drawer, I have this menu button, and also I have our menu icon, and also I have this close icon. You can see there's a GitHub icon. You can see there's a down arrow icon or down chevron icon. There's a right chevron icon. Okay, you can see that there's a search icon inside that button that toggles a search model. You can see that there's also a settings icon, and inside that settings store, there's also a light theme icon, dark theme icon. Okay, there's a React icon. There's this copy icon, there's this play icon, there's this right arrow, left arrow, and all these icons are SVG elements. So in order to inspect one of these, if I inspect that React icon there, you can see that this React icon is an SVG element that is directly embedded right into the DOM there. Okay, so that's the SVG element that displays a React icon. Same thing with the settings icon. You can see that these are all SVG elements. Okay, so in this video we are going to do that, so let's get into it. So let's come to packages, let's come to icons. This is where all our icons will reside, all the icons component. Let's come to src, and I think in the earlier videos we created this animated loading icon and also a spec file for the animated loading icon. So let's start from this. Okay, so let's open this in Cypress. So npm run test. This is the script that we already wrote, test icons. And go to component testing, start that. Let me close that because from the last video I still have the core component running. So I'm going to close that and exit out of that. And then just run this test again. Open up Cypress. Now that's it open up. So animated loading icon, I remember there was this problem of this stroke not working properly. Okay, so we'll go ahead and fix that here too. So this icon props here, let's create a new folder in src called utils. Okay, and inside this utils folder we want to create a new file called icon props, because all the icon props, the props for the icons, most of the icons will be the same. So instead of rewriting this every single time and repeating ourselves, we can just create a single file called icon props.ts. And inside this icon props.ts, we will just export some of the common types. Okay, export interface icon props, and the first prop will be a fill. So this will basically be the color of the icon. That'll be a string. Okay, height will also be a string. Width will also be a string, and just in case if the end user wants to manipulate the icons using React ref, we need to supply ref in every single component. Okay, HTML element, and this fill, height, width, these are valid HTML attributes for SVG element. Okay, so in order to verify that, let me go back over here again and let's inspect one of these icons. Let's inspect this settings icon. So if you go to the SVG element, there's a class settings icon, mod settings icons. There's a class being applied. Okay, and you can see that, do I have a height applied here? You can see that fill, height, width, these styles are being applied to this HTML to this SVG element. Okay, so that's the icon props, and let's come to this animated loading icon. And let's import that. Let's first import forward ref. forward ref import styled. Okay, we still need that. We also need with system props, okay, like in every single components. And let's do that. Mod.js-youtube / that's from utils, okay. And let's also finally import that icon props, okay, so that we do not have to write these icon props in every single file, so we can completely get rid of that. But since this animated loading icon has a props, takes a props called stroke, but do we have this property defined in icon props? No, and we do not need to define this in icon props because the stroke is mainly only for animated loading icon, okay. And the stroke is the thing that you see that it's circling, that is the stroke, okay. That's a red stroke. So let's define a type for this because we are using the stroke props. So we will define and we will write animated loading icon interface. So animated loading icon props, and this extends icon props, and stroke will be string, okay. And so this is not quite yet complete. So mod animated loading icon styled SVG. So now instead of icon props, that will be animated loading icon props, okay. And we, instead of hard coding the height, width, and stroke, we will use theme for that, okay, because we already have themes defined. So props dot height, then props dot height. So if the user is applying their own height, then we apply the user's height. Else we'll just do provide a default, okay. Props dot theme dot icons dot height dot sm, okay. This was defined in theme file in utils package, okay. So let's come to utils package here just to verify that we have it there. Let's come to mod dark theme, scroll down here, and see we already did this in previous videos, okay. Go and either watch those videos and do it, or go to the source code on GitHub and then clone the repository, or just copy and paste the contents of the files, okay. So there's this icons height and width values. So that's what we're doing. We're basically using those in this animated loading icon, okay. So height, same thing for width. So let me just copy and paste that. So props dot width, if the user supplies the width, then just apply that width, else apply default width, okay, that is small. Props dot theme dot icons dot width dot small. Stroke, we want the stroke to be able to be supplied by the user. So props dot stroke, if the user supplies the stroke value, then we'll just do props dot stroke. Else props dot theme dot color dot primary, that'll give us a nice blue color, okay. So that's that, and let's apply the props here. Let's destructure the props, stroke, height, width, and we also want to take any valid HTML attributes that the user supplies. Height, width, stroke, what happened here? Stroke looks good. And instead of icon props, this will be animated loading icon props, and that will fix that stroke error, okay. And let's not forget ref, react.ref HTML element, and mod animated loading icon, we are using a circle. Let's do this here because we have those props. We'll need to use it, we'll need to pass it here. So any props that the user want to supply, ref is just ref, lowercase ref, and XL. These are, so we will talk about all this. Let me just do this copy and pasting here, but we'll show this view box, okay, this prospect ratio and all this. We'll see it in just a bit, but let's come down here. So stroke is not hard coded there. That's the user supplied value. That looks good. Stroke dash array, that looks good. Let's save this, and let's not forget to wrap the every single component with system props hierarchy component that we have it in utils package, and also forward ref. Okay, let's close that, and let's come to spec file. So render animated loading icon component. So now let's, instead of doing that, because this we did, I believe, in, I don't know, 4 or 5, part 4 or 5 of this course, right? So that's why it was not complete, but now we're going to finally complete these components. Okay, style components, and let's also import for the themes. We'll need to import mod theme provider, and let's also import a light theme for now, okay, because it's daytime outside where I'm at. But that looks good. So side.mount mod theme provider, theme is equals to, for now there'll be mod light theme. Okay, and let's render that animated loading icon. And let's, well, we do not need styled here. Well, we do need that because we'll need to check whether this styled function from style components is actually applying styles or not in our test file. So let's refresh that. There's an error, and yet again this, I don't know why it does that. It auto completes to that, but it's not do that. I really want to fix that, but for now let's just do that mods, not mods.js utils. I'm used to that because this my real package is called mods.js. Okay, but just for YouTube, mods.js YouTube. In your case, that will be your own package name. So as you can see right now, the animated loading icon looks good. It's a blue small icon. Okay, we can make this icon bigger over here, or you know what the user can do? User can actually, whenever the user wants to change certain styles of this animated loading icon, it is currently rendering a default animated loading icon. Okay, but what can the user supply? See, in animated loading icon, the user can supply height, width, and also stroke. Okay, so let's apply stroke is equals to, I'm going to give it a nice green color. That is the green color. Fill, it does not take a fill property, okay, but it definitely does take the height. Fill does not work on circle, I believe, but height, let's specify the height to be 5 rem, and width also specify 5 rem, and see how it looks. Okay, so that's what the user can do when they are using this animated loading icon. You can see that the icon has gotten bigger, and also the stroke is green, so that looks good. Okay, and to write the test for this, there is, up until whatever tests we have written, they are not complex tests. They are just basic tests because the components we have built until now are not complex components at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy and paste the test files, and I will have this source code on GitHub so that you can go to GitHub and then just copy and paste that. But these are all the tests for this animated loading icon component, and let me not forget that mods.js utils. But I will have this source code on GitHub. Okay, I just did not want to repeat myself. Like, we already did this, having global with system props hierarchy component style from style. We did this in previous components. Okay, there is no new test that is going on here. The only new thing that I can see here is, no, I don't see anything. The props is the same as before. This global and custom styles, same as before. Interactions and behavior. Okay, yeah, this is a little different. For interactions and behavior, should apply default stroke, because in the component here, if the user does not provide a stroke value, then the default color is primary, that is the blue color in my case. Okay, but we'll need to check whether these animated loading icons should exist, and it should have the CSS with this blue color that is in RGB. Okay, and it also said apply hard-coded styles here. As you can see, a stroke, hard-coded, or this is the hard-coded styles, that is the green stroke. Cut in theme, it does that. Okay, so these are just the basic test files, very simple, nothing as complex going on here. So I'm just going to save that, and I'm going to close that. That was for the animated loading icon. It looks good. What happened there? There's something fail again. Okay, style.css, I do not have that there, so I am, you know what, I will need to create this too. So because this is a different package, I do have that in core package in Cypress for the icons. So fixes, let's create that new file quick, style.css, and I'm just going to copy, because I think it was the test.test and padding and margin, right? So let's save that, and then let's run this test again for the animated loading icon. You can see that the icon is there, and we can also see the first icon. Okay, that one, it is applying everything. All the test cases pass. Okay, so that was for the animated loading icon. Let's go into some of the other icons. Okay, let's build this React icon. Okay, because we are basically working on React here, so let's do that. So inside icons, components, and inside components there is already animated loading icon. Let's also create a new folder called React icon, and this React icon will have react icon.tsx, and also a test file for this React icon.spec.tsx. Okay, so let's build this React icon. So the first thing we'll do is, just like in every component, import React and forward ref from React. Also import styled from styled components. Import also with system props the higher order component that we have in utils package with system props at modjs-utip/utils. And also let's not forget the icon props, so that we do not have to define the same props in every single file. So const mod React icon, this will render a SVG HTML element, style.svg. Let's apply icon props, and just the same as before, let's specify height, not that should be $. If the user supplies the height, then we will use the user's height, else we will use props.theme.icons.height. In case of React icon, I'm going to do that as LG. Okay, that's the default, but users can always change that. Width, props.width, then if the user supplies the width value, then we'll just use that width value, else we'll do props.theme.icons width dot also large. Okay, so for the height and width looks good. Let's finally define a React icon component. Let's do structure, let's do that, and then return mod React icon that we have defined above, and let's leave it to that. Let's add this props here. Okay, so the first thing I'll take is height. Let's restructure this height, width, and also all the rest of the props. Okay, all valid HTML attributes for SVG element. Okay, and types for this are defined in icon props. Let's not forget ref or react dot ref HTML element. And inside here, take in all the props that the user supplies, also take in ref, okay, and XML and S. These are required for SVG. http://www.w3.2000/SVG. Okay. Let's also specify view box property. So this basically deals with the size and position of the icon. Okay, let's just do that for 512, and if it is not what we want, we can always change the view box values. Okay, height is height, width is also the not hard coded user supplied width or the default width. Let's also write data test is equals to react icon. Okay, so that's that. And let's write a title for react icon. Okay, and you can supply other metadata. Go and look at MDN. Okay, so if you do SVG MDN, you can find all the information for the scalable vector graphics. Okay, all the properties that all the attributes that SVG icon takes. Okay, so see, these are all the attributes that the SVG element takes. Okay, so you can go read that, but for now the title is good. And this is where for a path, because let's before writing path, okay, hold on here, before writing path, let's export this. So that export default react icon, and let's wrap this with system props, also wrap it with forward ref react icon. Okay, so let me close that there. So that is the React icon component, but what about the actual icon? We need the SVG path. Okay, so there are, let's write path there. So there are different ways we can do this. The first way we can do this is completely from scratch. You can use softwares like Inkscape. Inkscape can be used to create vector graphics, because the path for the animated loading icon, if we see this here, this was a simple code. That's why it was easier to just write it over there. But the path is going to be so complex, it's not possible to write every single values, all the path values. Okay, so what we are going to do is, because this React icon, you can find it anywhere out on the internet. Okay, so even if you go to React, the React website, they have the React icon. So what we are going to do is we're going to inspect this for all these already built. We do not want to build this all over again, okay, because that icon is already there, and building this icon takes time. Okay, so in order to save time, what we're going to do is we're going to inspect on the SVG icons on whatever icons you are looking for. If you are looking for React icon, inspect the SVG icon there. Okay, and most of these are, well, these are SVG icons. Okay, I'm not at the right, let me do that. And what we are going to do is, instead of writing all this completely from scratch, we are just going to click here, edit as HTML, and we are going to copy and paste this G we're going to copy and paste this entire thing, okay, from circle to G, and see how it looks, because we do not want to do this from scratch. It is going to take forever. Okay, let's also remove that path, and let's save that and see what we get. And we'll need to write a spec for this, so let me just do copy and paste that. So let's import React icon, and let's import mod light theme, and let's also import mod theme provider because we have used that there. And instead of animated loading icon, we're using React icon. Let's save that. There is still an error. Okay, and that was that. Let's fix that. Mozilla stash YouTube / utils. React refers to UMD global. Okay, we'll need to import React there. Import React from React. Okay, let's save that, and then we should have a React spec file here called React icon. We should the spec file called React icon data test. Let's fix that. Data test is not animated loading icon in this case. Data test is React icon. Okay, let's save that, and then it should re-render something here. That did not do anything, so, or did it? It did not do anything here. So let's inspect this again. They have SVG. Let me just copy and paste this entire thing here and see if it works. So I'm just going to comment that for now, and then see what it does here. Class, no, not needed. This might not quite work, but let's try it. Okay, it is working. Okay, so this is the SVG element, but there is an error, so let's fix this now. Okay, so that was basically, looks like the problem is with, let's comment this because that's not how we want it to be. We want the icon to be customizable, so let's uncomment that. So what's different here? So with 100% view box, so let's supply this view box and then see what changes we get. So there it is. After we change the view box, the icon has arrived. Now we can completely get rid of this code there. Okay, and then what about for the, it is not, because React is this kind of looks like not blue, but I don't know what kind of color that is. Like it should have that color there, but we are only seeing the dark color. So what we can do is in G here. Okay, so right here in fill, it says fill is none. Let's change this fill value and then see what we get. Fill will be fill, let's hard code it to some value for now. Fill, let's just do red. That did not quite work. Okay, because that's not what the logo is. So fill, we'll just do none. Okay, and I see where it is. It's not current color is no, because we do not have current color defined anywhere. So let's do fill red and see what we get. Okay, that looks good. Okay, and stroke is also red. Okay, now let's see what we get. Okay, there's the React icon. So we can specify fill here. Okay, so let's do fill props dot fill. So React, whenever, most of the time, if anybody is using React, then they would want to use the original color on the logo. Okay, but if the user wants to, let's say that, make this a React icon a red color like this, they can do that. So let's just provide that flexibility too. Okay, props.fill, then props.fill else props.else will just supply a default color. So what is the color of React? 58C 4DC. That's what it looks like. Okay, 58C 4DC, 58C 4DC. Okay, so now that's a change. That did not quite do it because we're still hard coding this stroke value. Now instead of red, we can use that fill, and let's destructure this fill over here. Okay, so fill, and also over here, instead of none, let's pass in that fill props. Okay, so now that is black, that should not be. There's now the fill there. Fill is just fill. Okay, is there any more fill property? No, that still did not do it. So height width looks good. Fill, what change did I do here? Oh, okay, so fill is, this fill should probably be none, but now let's just do it one by one. Okay, because I'm kind of getting lost here. Fill, let's do this green. So we have 3 fill: red, green, and none. So red is red instead of green. Now we will supply the default React color of 58C 4DC. Okay, okay, so 58C 4DC, there is actually no use to use this fill props. I was thinking that, well, maybe some users want to have the React logo as maybe green or red color, but I don't know why somebody would do that. So I'm just going to leave it to the original one, but in some other icons component, you'll see it. Okay, so let's just wrap up this first here. So let's do the fill to be the React logo color. So now there is the React logo, okay, with the appropriate color. I think this is not the quite right color yet. If you look at the React logo, it's a little different, but you see the idea here, right? Okay, that is the blue color, or kind of like blue color, but that is the React icon. Let's inspect this, and it should render a SVG element, okay, with the styles and everything else. So let me close some of this here. So that was the React icon. For the icon spec, again, I am going to, you know what, I am going to, so that was the React icon wrap up, right? But there are tons of other icons that we will need to deal with. I do not have it open here, but what I'm going to do is, instead, because for most of the components that icons component that we will be writing, this is what we'll be doing. Okay, we are not wanting to, I do not want to build or write this React icon or try to build it in Inkscape or any other software, because that would just be too much work. And I have probably over 250 icons component right now. I probably have over 100 icons component, and if I want to build all these icons component completely from scratch, I'm not going to do anything else in my life. I'm just going to sit there and build all these icons component, which I do not want. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to exit out of this, and I'm going to take a short break, and I'm going to have a lot of the other components, the icons component, under the icons src components, and I will explain to you what I did, okay, because I do not want to sit here and build each of these components in the video, okay, because these are just very basic, very simple. You got the idea when we wrote the animated loading icon component and also when we wrote the React icon component. So I'm going to be back, okay, and when I'm back you'll see a lot of folders under these components, and they are all the icons component, okay. So I'll be back. So I am back after making some changes and updates here. So under icons src components, before I only had animated loading icon component and React icon component somewhere down over here, but now I have all these components, okay, and of course I duplicated this, so I'm going to all this copy I'll have to manually rename all this, but these are all the icons component for now, and all these icons component will be used in other components, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push all this to GitHub after I correct this, and then you can either clone the repository, okay, or you can copy and paste the contents of the file, whatever you want to do. But I will have this on GitHub by the time you are watching this. This will most likely air probably a week later from today, from August 8th. So probably by the end of next week, this video will be up, and then you will look at GitHub, and then you will basically clone this in your project, okay, all the icons. And all these icons, they are exactly the same as animated loading icons and React icon. So for, let's say that there is AWS icon. So in AWS icon, again, everything is the same. Again, I will fix this error by the time it is up on GitHub, okay, but height, width, see, everything is the same. Just like with the React icon, I went to AWS, looked at the SVG, and then got the path from it, and then just copied and pasted here, okay. That's the AWS icon. There is also Angular icon. There is backend icon, or there's close icon. Let's look at this close icon. Everything is the same. There's field, height, width property. And for this one, so for the close icon, in order to find the SVG, the path for this, what you can do is you can go to Google and search for close icon, and close icon SVG, and if you find any SVG element, click on it, inspect it, and then you'll have to be a little creative here, and then it also takes a lot of work to actually have all these icons component exactly the way you want, but it is gonna take some time. But in order to save your time, I will have all this code on GitHub so that you can just go and copy and paste, okay, so that you do not have to write all this all over again. I already did it for you so that you can just go and copy and paste. So that was it for the icons component, okay. So now we have the foundational components that we built in the last videos, and then we also have the icons component that will be used throughout most of the other components, okay. Like this code editor component, you see that there's a play icon, there's this copy icon, okay. In this app bar, there's this menu icon, settings icon, search icon. All these icons will be used throughout other components, okay. So now we have that. So I will have this on GitHub, go do that, okay. And in the next video we will start writing some other components, okay. So I will see you in the next one. See ya.